Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we're going to be taking a look at the RDR2 actors actually discussing some really cool things, like the Blackwater Massacre, Sadie Adler as being a love interest, some cut content, and a whole lot more. So this comes from a few of the expos that these actors have actually attended, and they've done panels which they've answered questions from the audience, and they've also taken questions from like the moderators of the actual panels themselves. And it's really cool to actually see them talk about Red Dead Redemption 2 because they can offer such a unique perspective that no one else in the world has, because they were the ones that made these characters come to life. So in today's video, I'm just going to be covering the highlights of the two expos that I actually saw, but I will leave a link to the full panels in the description. Each one is about 40 minutes long, so obviously this entire video is, not going to be over an hour and a half. So if you want to check out the full panels, I will leave links to those in the description. They're really great to listen to if you're like doing homework or doing something else, whatever the case is. They just have some really cool things to talk about. And speaking of that, the first interesting thing that I did not know about actually comes from Roger Clark explaining that sometimes the scenes we saw in Red Dead Redemption 2 would take over 3 years to complete. Take a listen to this.
I said once in an early interview we did that it's a bit like acting in a painting while it's being painted. And that's in the sense that they can go back in. We go and we return to scenes. We'd return to scenes in the booth with the helmet cam on. Sometimes it'd be to change dialogue, like instead of Charles and Micah, you go do that, and Arthur and John, you go do that. We'd have to change it. So John, Micah, you do that. Arthur, Charles, you do that sort of thing. But then other times it'd be a scene wasn't working.
Yeah, some scenes took 3 years to do. We'd start it, and then we wouldn't get to it for a while because we'd get caught up in something else. And then they'd bring that actor back after 3 years, and he'd be like, so did we mess it up? No, we didn't mess it up at all. We're just finishing it now. Meanwhile, children have been born. Gray hairs have been added onto our heads.
No.
Like, well, can we see what we did before? And I went, yeah, sure. So it was... Mostly, generally, they tried to stick to a chronological order, like most productions do. But, sometimes that just didn't happen.
So that statement really didn't stand out to me until Roger Clark said something like, kids are born by the time one scene is completed and another is finished. And I'm like, dang, that is actually crazy. And I think one of the scenes they mentioned in particular was the Saint Denis bank robbery. Like, that one actually took the longest. And I can understand that that was a huge critical part of the game. One part of the story that we actually never got to see in game, but is simply just told through characters briefly mentioning it or finding newspaper articles or items in game, is the Blackwater Massacre. And Roger Clark and Benjamin Byron Davis, who, as you guys know, played Dutch Van der Linde and Arthur Morgan, they actually talk about the Blackwater Massacre and how they were kind of surprised that you didn't get to find out any more information either.
Oh yeah, agreed. I thought we would.
You guys know what happened on that boat?
Heidi McCourt got shot in the face.
Yeah. The question is about the Blackwater Massacre, as well as those of you who were in the back and might not have heard, yeah. No, we don't know, man. We don't know.
I will tell you, it was one of the things I thought we would learn.
Yeah, me too.
Is Rockstar planning to put it out as story DLC?
I have no idea.
You know what, pal? Even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you. Sorry.
But that makes it sound like he knows something.
No, it doesn't.
It is a good tactic.
No.
You should learn from this.
I don't know, and if I did, I would lie to you and say that I don't know. But I don't know.
All right, next question.
So I'm still holding out hope that one day Rockstar will give us some sort of DLC or backstory that explains what really happened in Blackwater before our game picks up when the gang is like freeing Coulter and they're trying to escape from their lives. And the final thing that these two individuals talk about from this expo, which was Fan Expo Boston 2019, is some cut content in one mission in particular, which is one of the funniest in the game. It could actually be the first mission you do in Chapter 2 when Arthur has to like save Karen from Valentine. Remember how Uncle and them go to Valentine, Karen ends up going into that hotel room. Well, if you go in one of the hotel rooms, you can actually like find someone on the toilet. It's pretty funny. Roger Clark explains it really well that apparently there was a lot more that was supposed to happen there.
Oh, all the time. It's all the time, yeah. I remember the worst one for me was, and a lot of it got cut, but it is still in the game, is when it's towards the beginning and you go to help Karen because she's getting attacked by a John. You remember that bit? And if you go into the wrong hotel room, there's a guy on the throne taking a crap. And doing the performance capture for that it was so funny because there's an actor in spandex and he's sitting on this makeshift toilet. And I'm opening the door and there was a lot more dialogue and they're like, "What are you doing?" And of course there was the whole straining noises before you open the door. And then I open the door and, "Oh, sorry," you know. But then we have to write additional dialogue in case Arthur decides to go back, as the player might do. "What are you doing? It won't come out if you keep doing that." I couldn't stop laughing on that day. That day especially, I'm surprised we got through it, and it doesn't surprise me that so much of it was cut because I was probably laughing too much.
Okay, so now I'm really curious to know what the heck was supposed to happen in that bathroom with Arthur. Were we supposed to meet him later on in this story? That just sounds incredibly funny, and I would have loved to see what would actually have happened with that character and with Arthur and at the Valentine Hotel. That just sounds hysterical. So that was the first panel right there that only featured Roger Clark and Benjamin Byron Davis. The next panel adds Rob Wiedoff, which is John Marston's actor, and also Sadie Adler's actor, Alex McKenna, who did an amazing job with her. And they were able to answer a lot of really cool questions too, and I learned some interesting things from this. And the first actually has to do with Uncle. So for those of you guys that don't know, Uncle's actor actually ended up passing away during the recording process of Red Dead Redemption 2. And Benjamin Byron Davis explains that there is still a lot left of that actor in the game that you might not have known about.
And I was speaking to someone else earlier today about that. You know, the guy who plays Uncle is wonderfully played by James McBride. He actually wasn't the initial casting for Uncle. It was originally it was Spider in your game, but then in our game we had a wonderful actor by the name of John O'Craig, who unfortunately passed away. But so when James wonderfully stepped in, he ADR'd all of John O'Craig's lines in the booth, but Rockstar did keep John singing. So whenever you hear Uncle sing in Red Dead 2, it's John O'Craig, the original Uncle that you wonderful people unfortunately didn't get to see a lot of his work, but you do get to hear him sing around the campsite.
And they also named O'Craig's Ron.
That's right,
John.
Yeah.
He was a hell of a guy.
Yeah.
So how about that? That is an awesome tribute to Uncle's original actor in Red Dead Redemption 2 and sort of the little bits and pieces that they left of his work in the game. Now, the next two things that I found to be pretty interesting was Alex McKenna talking about how she actually got to choose her husband, Sadie Adler's husband, and also how she would be open for returning for more work if Rockstar wanted.
So, yeah, they gave me a call, and then I was very exciting because they were interviewing husbands for me, and I got to work with a great actor and got to hear a little bit more and experience a little bit more that had been referred to in the actual game. But yeah, I mean, I'm always ready if they're listening for some more missions.
So that was interesting because we never actually see Sadie Adler's husband in the story mode. We only see him in Red Dead Online. So I wonder if that's what she was referring to right there. I mean, I don't know how else we would ever meet her husband because the gang only runs into him, you know, after he's dead and after the O'Driscolls killed him. So I'm assuming that's what she's talking about. It is cool how she was one of the major characters featured in Red Dead Online. Hopefully we definitely see more of Sadie. She's just such an awesome character. And speaking of that, she discusses Sadie's role of actually not being a love interest, which I found to be pretty awesome.
This strong, powerful, take no prisoners however, still have a heart where she loves the people she loves, is incredibly loyal to them, and isn't a love interest, which I thought was one of the cooler decisions, even though I know a lot of people were hoping that something would happen, but I think it gives her this autonomous force presence in the game that she's not being evaluated in relation to a man. So it was amazing. She's the greatest role I've played thus far. I mean, Sadie Adler is like a heart human for me, and to get to bring her to life is my great honor.
So I know that a ton of people wanted to see Arthur and Sadie develop some sort of romantic relationship, but according to her, that was never supposed to be the plan. And last but not least, once again, Dutch and Arthur, well, I should say Roger Clark and Benjamin Byron Davis, were collectively asked again about the Blackwater Massacre, and this is what they had to say.
At what point did you think you were descending into madness with your character?
Well, I do think, I think that the writers did something very intelligently in that whatever's gone wrong with him, it's going wrong already when the story is in motion. So we have this, there's still this great echo of this Blackwater Massacre that existed in the first game too. I thought they'd answer the question when I came back. I figured we were going to do it. We never did it. And I think that that was really rather genius because we don't know exactly what snapped in him, but I do like that you pointed to Angela Bronte, that scene with Jim Peary.
So again, in my opinion, this is so cool to be able to hear from the actors of Red Dead Redemption 2, their perspective on the game and just some things we might not have known about, including some cut content, the Blackwater Massacre, and a whole lot more. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I will leave both panel links in the description so you can check them out in their entirety if you want. But that is all the information I've got for you guys in this video today. Hopefully you did enjoy. Let me know what you thought was the most interesting bit of info that the actors discussed in this video. If you did go on to enjoy this video though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And remember to subscribe if you guys are new or you want to stay up to date on all the latest Red Dead Redemption 2 and GTA 5 videos that I'm doing here on the channel. But of course, as always guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.